Kansas City Chiefs, defending champs, trying to become back-to-back Super Bowl champs for the first time since 03, 04. But Chris Jones, the man on your screen, he's currently holding out. He hasn't gotten the money he wants. Travis Kelce, the man now on your screen, hyperextended his knee earlier, and we are just 2 days away from the Chiefs versus the Lions Thursday Night Football. Shady, no better question to ask this question to than you. You played with Travis Kelce for a season, won a championship with him. You know just how good he is. Obviously, friend of the show, friend of several people at the desk. But I'm going to come to you with this very important question. Are you worried about the Chiefs?
I'm worried. I'm worried. First of all, have you seen the podcast with him and his brothers, Charles and Jason? And he was saying, Kelce was like, hey, man, Chris Jones, you're not here yet. I'm getting worried. I'm worried. But hold up. That's when he was still healthy.
Yes, sir.
Now, he got hurt. I'm even more worried. I think that when you look at Chris Jones not being there, and now Travis Kelce, he is like Patrick Mahomes' is insurance. Right? One thing in life, you guaranteed on insurance, and one day it's going to be over for all of us. That's the same thing with Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes knows that that's his insurance. Anytime Travis is anywhere around, he's down there somewhere, throw it up, he can make a play. So I'm just worried about the Chiefs because I haven't seen him without Travis Kelce. Think about it. We've seen him without Tyreek Hill.
No doubt.
With Travis, different story.
You make a great
I'm worried about that.
145 plausible games since Travis Kelce's rookie season. 145 plausible games. He's played in 143.
Been consistent.
The reason he didn't play in the other two, Week 17s, and the Chiefs already had it locked up. Travis Kelce is Iron Man for the Chiefs. He does not miss games, Joy Taylor. Are you worried about the Chiefs in the imminent future?
For right now, right? Not like big picture? Yeah, I'm a little worried. I was already worried without Chris Jones being there because, as we talked about yesterday, he's the other side of the ball. He's the Mahomes for the defense. So him not being in the building, not just from a leadership perspective, from a production perspective, is concerning. Now you're talking about Travis Kelce, who is a guy who is essentially responsible for 25% of the output from the offensive side of the ball when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. He's responsible for 25% of Patrick Mahomes' completions. A quarter, that's a lot. That's not replaceable by one person. We know how important Travis Kelce is to this offense. And it's not that we don't think Patrick Mahomes is great, but everybody has this guy. Tom Brady has this guy. Aaron Rodgers has this guy. Everybody has their guy that they can go to, that you said, you can just throw it up and get it, or knows, like they have the relationship. He has the output. So for him to not be there in this offense on top of Chris Jones not being there, I don't want to, get all panicky, but I think it's a cause for concern. I think it's fair to be concerned.
No, you guys are absolutely right, and I'm worried as well, right? You're talking about Travis Kelce, right? We all know, Shady, right? We come into the game plan, we got certain plays we running, but we know it is going to be plays in the game 50% of the time that are off-scripted, right? Quarterback got to scramble, get outside the pocket. You maybe some missed blocks. You got to make some hay out of something, right? It's going to be off-schedule plays. You know who he's looking for on off-schedule plays? Travis Kelce. That is what they do. The chemistry's been there for year after year after year. So the off-schedule plays is what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about Patrick Mahomes dropping back and saying, ooh, Sky Moore right there, boom, ball out. I'm not worried about that. But it's going to become a time in the game to where it is off-schedule plays. There's nobody in the National Football League that does it better than Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. That is going to be huge. He is the security blanket. Now you got to go out here with young receivers. You got to go out here with Ross. You got to go out here with Sky Moore, and you have to try to find ways to get explosive plays and make plays. I am worried. And we already talked about the defensive side of the ball yesterday with Chris Jones. This right here, for Andy Reid, I know how great of a coach he is, but everybody should be worried that your second-best player on the football team is not out there on the football field.
2-5, I'm officially concerned. I was not fully concerned yesterday with the absence of Chris Jones, only because I have had to humble myself as a defensive player, realizing our value or lack thereof oftentimes. There are LeSean McCoys out there. There are James Joneses out there. So if y'all ball out to some degree, it doesn't matter how porous the defense is, y'all gonna be all right. I remember in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs did not win that game because of their defense versus the Philadelphia Eagles. We all watched it at length. Chiefs won that game because they put up 38 points. Special teams was great. Their best defensive player was actually their linebacker because Jason Kelce's a first-ballot Hall of Famer and was able to neutralize Chris Jones. So I was like, you know what? The Chiefs will be okay without Chris Jones for the game. They'll be okay. But without Travis Kelce, I don't have that same confidence. I do not have that same assurance because Travis Mahomes does not have his insurance. To Shady's point, without Travis Kelce, now you're relying on Sky Moore, drafted last year. Justin Ross, acquired last year. Kadarius Toney, acquired late last year. Third-round pick, Rice out of SMU. Like, who are you relying on right now? You make a great point. There is the X's and O's of it all. When the game is played out on paper, it's easy.
Yep.
But what happens when the game has to transcend the X's and O's? That's where Travis Kelce.
And you know what? You made a good point. I was thinking about this from being over there. I remember there's been times in practice where Pat and Kelce would have something going on where he'll throw a pass and that wasn't scripted.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, dang, where'd that come? See, I'm a player, so I'm like, I want to know why'd you do that? Where most players play or whatever, but I'm in tune. I'm like, why'd you throw it there? Why did you run that route? And they have that connection when they look at each other. You're like, yo, you know, it's one of them things, the wide receiver. And I see the same thing with the Bucs when Gronk and Brady. They're not saying something, it's the look. They see the defense, the look, and they look at each other. So that's one thing I am worried about is, like, those are big plays, too. When Kelce, because Kelce's an ex-quarterback, you guys be intelligent, and he may see some of the coverage, and he looks at Pat, they look at each other, and they'll have them plays where now you don't have that. So Pat might be in a situation where Kelce's not out there, he's looking at Sky Moore, he might not recognize that look, that signal, and they don't get that play.
Shady,
You're right.
most notably, real quick, Jay, remember most notably Chiefs versus the Bills 2 years ago. We're in 13 seconds left. The Chiefs have to go all the way down the field to get a field goal to send it to the overtime. We know how the story ends. Chiefs win. Do it, Kels. Do it, Kels. You know, you have the cornerback. I think it might have been Tre'Davious White was lined out further enough outside. So Patrick Mahomes was communicating to Kelce, hey, do it. What was it? Run at White to widen him, and then bounce back in, catch it, get in field goal range. You bring up a great point, Shady. Jay, where you at?
And I wanted to piggyback off that because I've been in those situations with Aaron where the chemistry is there, where you hear a play call come in the huddle and he like, no. JJ, listen, if I look at you twice, do this. You know what I'm saying? And you know scramble rules and all that type stuff. You know exactly where you need to be, right? Aaron done got out there, green 18, set. And I'm like, oh, shoot, the ball coming. You know, but that's that little stuff that when the game is on the line or when you have to have it down, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 5, like you need Travis Kelce out there. This is huge for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Joy,
I am worried.
Let's go from the micro to the macro. Let's go not necessarily from the Thursday night game, Chiefs versus Lions, which we literally, by the time this show ends, we will be roughly 48 hours away from. Let's go now to the macro, bigger picture of the season. Chiefs are trying to repeat. They're trying to go back-to-back for the first time since the Patriots did it, I believe, 03-04. Are you worried about them from a macro sense, a bigger picture, not just Thursday, but whole season?
No, not yet. Not yet. It's still Andy Reid, still Patrick Mahomes. I think they'll get a deal done with Chris Jones. And we don't know how bad the injury is with Travis Kelce. Obviously, you don't want to hear this essentially 2 days away from the start of the season when they have to play, and you don't want to go into a season injured. You usually exit a season injured if that's how it goes, because you don't have any time to rest and really get healthy when you get injured at this point. So we don't know how elaborate this injury is. Obviously, we're all hoping that it's not that bad and it's something that, he can feel good about at least in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But from a macro sense, I can't bail on the Chiefs just yet. They're too far ahead of everybody once they get Chris back in the building, and if Travis is healthy enough to play, there's so much ground that everyone else has to make up that maybe it will bring them back to the pack a little bit if they're absent from Kelce for a while. But as long as he's there at some point in the season and Chris is in the building, I can't bail on the Chiefs just yet.
Oh, no, absolutely. Now, if we just talking about the whole season, they're going to be good.
Yeah.
If Kelce doesn't play for the next 3 games, it may hurt him, but Andy Reid is so good. Patrick Mahomes is so good that they'll figure it out. I watched Andy Reid win games with way less talent at wide receivers and at quarterback. So only reason why I'm really worried is just because it's so short notice.
Yeah.
So the whole off time from the last preseason game to this game Thursday, Kelce has been in the game plan. How can we get him the ball? How can we get him the ball? Now, because Andy Reid, he's so smart. He has a sheet of all the plays he wants to call. He has a sheet that's for Kelce. Right? That's how he does it. So now you take that sheet away. Oh, man. You don't know how many plays he had drawn up for Kelce. But if you look at the long span of a season, he has enough time to draw up the plays he wants for everybody else. I mean, we've seen Andy Reid score 2 touchdowns in a championship game. Uncontested.
No doubt about it.
He's that good. So Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they'll figure a way to get it done.
Yeah, for me, I'm worried on both ends. And it's not that I don't have belief in Coach Andy Reid because, I mean, he's won 2 Super Bowls over there with the Kansas City Chiefs. But we've seen him cover up Tyreek Hill. Right? And now you're talking about no Tyreek Hill or Kelce, right? I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes cannot get that done, right? And they can't put up 30, but then you go to the other side now. So now you're saying I got to go out here without 87, without Tyreek Hill, I got to score 30, and I don't got Chris Jones on the other side neither. So for me, if we're talking big picture, we already said that we do not believe the Chiefs can go back and win a Super Bowl without Chris Jones. And now you take away 87, and we know 87's not. We know Travis Kelce's not going to be gone the whole year, right? But it might slow down their fast starter trying to get out the gate to get this thing off and running in the AFC, and that could possibly come back and bite them if the Bills jump out on them a couple games or Joe Burrow jumps out on them a couple games. So for me, I'm worried because it's not about winning AFC championships. It's not about MVPs for Patty. It's about Super Bowls for all of them. And this worries me. These are two of your best players.
Last 5 years, the AFC has gone through Kansas City. The AFC Championship game's been in Kansas City.
That's big.
Over that stretch, here's what's fascinating. Patrick Mahomes, 16-0 in the last 4 seasons versus the NFC. 16-0 versus the NFC. They see the NFC's Detroit Lions 2 days away. Cannot wait for that.
That's Brady numbers right there.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.